Okay, guys, thanks for coming out on this rainy day. A couple things. Really excited. We have 55 players coming back from the 1976 undefeated team, which is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Rutgers Hall of Fame. So it'll be great to have them back and have them down on the field and all that kind of stuff, and be able to see them. The other thing this week is the Coach to Cure MD week, when across America coaches will be wearing the patch. It's certainly personal here. Matt DeRiggi, who is an intern for us, is battling the disease, but I think it's great that the Coach Association does that. So proud to take part in that. So now we're on to Wagner, and our goal is the same as it's been every week, to be 1-0 at the end of the Wagner season. So we're going to put a lot of work into it, and then let it fly on Saturday and see where the chips fall. Questions?
Greg, just when you look at, now that you're 4 games into the season and you look at Gavin's week-to-week performances, what has stood out to you about the way that he's continued to build on each one, continued to improve, particularly when it comes to his decisiveness?
I think what Gavin's doing is he's getting a better and better understanding of exactly what we want to do on offense, what his job is, and he's trusting his training. You know, he's trained very hard all off season. I've told you guys that, with Coach Shiraka, and he's trusting that training, under the fire, and he just needs to continue to do that. He's got the ability for sure, and he's done a nice job not only running the ball, not only throwing the ball, but running the ball, and being a complete quarterback. So we just need to keep building on that.
You start the season with 3 crucial home games. You just played a very physical game against Michigan. Your next 2 Big Ten opponents are coming off byes. You don't get a bye till the 8th week of the season, 9th week of the season. Does this game against Wagner come at or the right time for you guys? Just a kind of a good, I don't want to say stopgap, but it's an FCS opponent. Does it come at the right time for you guys?
Well, I like continuing to play, and when I talk about Wagner's team, I have the utmost respect for Coach Masella. I've known him a long time. He's a guy, when I was breaking into the business, was one of the guys I looked up to. And he's done a really good job of mixing the portal and high school recruiting. So he's got transfers. Last time they played here, they were coming off a 21-game losing streak. Now they're coming off a 2-game winning streak. They're sitting on top of their league in first place. So he's done an incredible job building that program. And they have players on that team that, when I watched the tape, I said, you know what, this is going to be a battle. And I don't know why I would think anything else. I mean, you're looking at the guy that early in his career, was beat by a BC, or what do they call it, FCS team, and it was hard, right? So trust me, this week our preparation will be as hard as it's been. Just a little bit harder, because that's what you do each week. You try to out-prepare yourself. But we know exactly what we're walking into, and we got to get ready.
Coach, Ireland Brown, Gus Zielinskis splitting time at center. What do you make of their progress and where the battle stands in that room at this time?
No, it's just competition. Gus has played considerably more than IB so far. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way. It just means that that's how it's played out in practice each week, and how it's played out in the game. I think competition is going to bring the best to the top, but we're going to continue to have competition in several spots on the offensive line.
Just with Christian Dremel obviously having a bigger role in the offense this year, what have you seen from him the time that you've gotten to know him till now, in a way he's kind of built up to this and continued to improve and get this opportunity?
Christian's always been, from the day I arrived, an incredibly hard worker, a guy who's loves football, intensely focused. He's had some tough luck with injuries. He's gotten to the point where he's ready to go, and then he had some freaky things. So I'm really happy for him. I'm happy for us because he's performing at a high level, but I'm happy for him because he deserves it. There's not many people that, if any, that work harder than he does.
Just to piggyback on the question about Gavin Wimsatt, where do you think he is in his overall development as a quarterback, and what do you think the next step is, the next tier of that development?
That's a hard one. Where is he in the overall? Like, no one knows how good someone can get, right? I just look at Gavin's trajectory. As long as he keeps the nose up, eventually he's going to get to a level where we all want him to. He's learning every single game. I'm not going to get into specifics, but there's some things on the tape that you say, oh, great. That's something we've been talking to him about, and he got it. And, that's what we need to continue to do. You can't have any backslides. You can't have any progress halters right now because he's on the climb, and he's got to continue to stay that way. And I'm confident that between he and Coach Shiraka that will continue.
We're another year into the transfer portal era, and this is the 5th game of the season, so it's redshirt tracking time. Having another year in your belt, understanding the transfer portal, does that change your calculus at all on whether you will redshirt guys or not, or is it a matter of they can transfer at any time? It's less of a priority than it used to be.
Well, you just said a word that sends shivers down my spine. Calculus. That was one that I didn't enjoy. It's a big fat red book. I had to take it in the business program, and let me tell you something. I had a tutor every night, and I got by the skin of my teeth. So let's not use that word. But yeah, I constantly track who's playing, how we, the day of the red shirt, who knows? I don't know. If you recruit the right players, are they going to stay for 5 years? Well, maybe, maybe not. So there's so many things to balance. I don't think there's ever a sure thing, though. I think you just have to go with what you believe. But we track it all. Yeah, I have a list every week. How many games each guy's played in, that whole deal. They do know the rule change now. They can play. They can play in 4, but then they can also play in any postseason games, and they don't count. So that's a big change. So you don't have to leave one. That aggravated me last year, though, because we didn't know if we were going to be in the postseason or not, and you kept watching it, and then retroactively they said, well, you know what, the bowl game doesn't count. So that, hopefully this is what it is. It's 4, and then you can play in the postseason.
Coach, what have you seen out of Jaquay Jackson's performance so far this season, just how he continues to play within the whole of the offense?
Jaquay's getting better every week. Unfortunately, he had a little injury during training camp that slowed him down. I wish he had had all those practice repetitions to get in the groove with the offense. He didn't start here until the summer, right, midsummer, because of the portal and his recruitment. So it's not like he was here all spring where he got, cumulative repetitions. So then we get to training camp and he's doing well, and then he has he's forced to take a little break because of injury, and that, I don't think we're seeing yet the guy we're going to see here in the next 4 weeks. I think he's going to continue to get better and better, which is good, I guess. But I would have liked to have had it, earlier.
You talked about getting Samuel Brown up to game speed, getting in shape. How close is he to being the Sam Brown that we saw last season?
Well, I think, I don't know if it's last season or but I look at it as, is he ready? Has he had enough repetitions that you can go in and know that he'll do things muscle memory and not have to think about it? Because when you're thinking about stuff that you need to be able to do just naturally, you open yourself up to 2 things. You open yourself up to injury, number 1, because you're not playing as fast as you usually do. You also open yourself into not performing the way you're capable. I think he's real close. This will be this week of practice now. I think it'll be the 3rd consecutive. That's getting into that sweet spot now where hopefully he can play more.
Along those lines, too, getting Aaron Young back the other day. I mean, how big is that for the offense? Not just because of obviously more depth in the running back room, but also his versatility. And I'm assuming he has to get built back up.
Yeah, he is. He's getting built back up as we speak. He does bring great versatility. I think he can do a lot of different things. And as he gets, more and more in that zone, so to speak, I think there'll be more roles for him to play.
I got a D in pre-calculus when I went here, just for the record.
Did you?
It's
A
big
D,
reason,
huh?
It's part of the reason why I'm here.
Yeah, I got you. Maybe me too.
Fair enough. We touched on the offensive line rotation. You guys changed guys in every spot except for left tackle against Michigan. And understanding that every decision is what you guys think gives you guys the best chance to win, and understanding, I think you've said that if you could have 5 guys, that would be the ideal scenario. What are some of the reasons why you guys have to rotate? Is it fatigue? Is it performance related? Just what are some of the things that you see coming up that you guys have to, bring guys in and out?
Yeah, probably the 2 things you said, fatigue and performance, right? Those 2 things are what would cause someone to be subbed. So yeah, that's really a good summary.
At when Chris Long got injured, I don't think it seemed like a very long-term injury. Can you just maybe talk about if it's going to be long term or you're expecting him back kind of soonish.
Yeah, I don't know what soonish is. You know, I think it's been, what, 2 weeks now? 3? 2. 2 weeks now. Hopefully, we're hopeful that he'll start to work on his recovery back here. It needed to rest for a little bit. But we're getting some guys back that I think are going to help, especially in the receiver room. So I think, Jesse Afuri will be back this week. Fama Teray is going to be back. So some young kids that we were very encouraged with in training camp, and then they got injured. Hopefully they can, get some reps and practice again. And, they're not where they're going to need to be, but that they don't need to be maybe to go in and play 3 or 4 or 5 plays. So we'll see. And we're going to mix it up. But Chris, I think, is on the mend. We just got to wait, till the trainers and doctors tell me he can start back up. Yeah, I appreciate it. Really proud of our kids. Now you're into the season, and we're 4 weeks in right now, and I think they're doing a good job working in the classroom. Everybody forgets that they're college football players, and this is where tests start. This is where papers are due, and our academic advisors and all the people, Jeff Jones, and all the people who work with them, our PDs, our player development guys are doing a great job. But this is where it starts to really become tough on them. And it wears them down, and they're up late doing papers. I've said it many times, this is a very challenging school. The guys that they're competing with in the classroom and the gals that they're competing with in the classroom are serious students. So my hat's off to them, because so far they're doing a good job, and I encourage them to keep doing that. Thanks, guys.